For the penultimate round of the Midas Historic Tour, the competitors travel to Welkom in the Free State to race at Phakisa Freeway, a favourite for many drivers. History in Motion is proudly brought to you by Midas Sport, Gumtree, Mitsubishi Electric and their associate sponsors. Let's get some inside info about Turn 1 from Peter Jenkins.
I'm at Phakisa Freeway in Welkom in the Free State. Standing at the end of the pit straight at the entrance into Turn 1. As you'll see behind me, this is quite a long pit straight, so the cars are carrying quite a lot of speed as they come down here. The turn is one of the favourite overtaking parts of the track. It's nice and wide, it's quite a slow corner that you're going into, so there's lots of heavy and hard braking coming into the corner. Using your braking markers is quite critical, and you'll see some of the guys are using lots of different braking techniques coming into the corner. This is just after the entrance coming into the corner. And if you look down to the left here, you'll see that the corner carries on and on and on. It's actually a 120-degree corner and a lot tighter than what most people think. So coming into the corner, you have to try and apex as late as possible because you need to carry speed coming out of the corner because it's quite a fast section of the track that's after that. The issue with these 120-degree corners is that the tendency is always to apex too early. And as you get onto the power, you find that you start running out of track, you have to come off the power and then get back on the power. That unsettles the car and obviously allows your competitors around you to get past you. So the trick is apex as late as possible, get onto the power gently, and then just feed it in, carrying speed down to the next corner.
Some final adjustments and stickers being applied before the competitors will head out onto this 4.24-kilometre track and begin the serious business of racing in the Marlboro Crane Hire Historic Saloons classes A to H. After Swartkorps, what repairs did Gert Boertes have to make to get his car ready for Phakisa?
The day after that, I think the Monday, I searched for a door. I got a door in RTPS Dam. It was not the same door. This is a 69 model. The door was a 77 model, so we had to modify it slightly. Derek panel beated it. It took him 4 days. Excellent job. Yeah, Derek Mini fixed up. The diff moved, broke the center pin on the diff on the blade springs. So that's why I couldn't do the next race because it was running like a crab, like a taxi, but I'm all fixed up. I'm glad to be here. It's handling fine. I struggled with a little bit of a splatter on top, but I think we'll sort it out with the jetting with the next practice.
Yeah, very excited to be back at Phakisa. Lovely track. Really enjoy racing here at Phakisa, especially with my car being redone now. Courtesy of Sasolburg Auto Bodies. They've really surprised me. They had the car for 3 weeks. I got back here yesterday, Cape Town, and yeah, the guys just surprised me completely. A bit worried about the wind. Going down up the back straight, the wind is straight into the car, and with temperatures, above 35 degrees, I'm just scared my car might run a bit hot. First time in this heat, so I'm a bit nervous.
What had happened to Uli Sonner's CSL?
The wheel popped and I went off. So it cost us another spoiler, but let's get the car ready for the race.
She felt fine. It went out pit lane, turn 1, 2, I think it was turn 3 on the tip of the boot there. She just started misfiring a bit. I didn't know what was wrong. And as I came through the back straight here, she started picking up a bit of a noise. So I came back immediately. My crew quickly trying to just sort it out. I thought the distributor was maybe a bit loose. But when I started up again, I saw a bit of smoke coming through my breather and realized that she's run bearings. So we had a problem before at Swartkorps where we lost oil pressure. So we only replaced the bearings. But obviously, it's a bit deeper than that. I think the crank maybe got a bit of hurt on the journal. So we'll have to go back, pull her out, fix up, and hopefully be ready for red stop.
Big disappointment there for Wayne Lotter after all his excitement at having the car ready for this Phakisa round and looking so good. Let's have a look at how the cars will line up for the start. Uli Sonner was on pole with his BMW 2002, but after having some problems, he will now start from the back of the grid in his BMW CSL. Lots of work for him to do. With no fewer than 7 Fords in the top 12 grid positions, the scene is set for some close racing. The lights go out, and it's Werner Vonk and Martin Botha who lead the field into Turn 1. Pierre de Waal in his Alfa goes round the outside of Martin Botha's Datsun into Turn 1. Gert Boertes keeping the top 3 within reach as they go round this long corner. Straightening up through Turn 2, de Waal has moved into the lead and Werner Vonk slots into second. Paige Lindenberg pulling off the track at Turn 1 with fuel pump issues. Hopefully she'll be able to get those resolved and get the car back into the race. Heading towards turn 3, the field is still tightly bunched together. Colin Keane and Jan Jacobs, the Merc with the inside line, edging an advantage over the Alpha. Willem Fonk and his escort right behind the pair. At the front of the pack, Gert Boertes is hanging on to Martin Botha, and the lead pair seem to have edged a little bit of a gap. Behind Boertes, the racing is close with Dion van Vuren, Meredith Willis and Quentin Willis. Brett Maurice and Daniel Lotto running side by side through the boot. Lotto edging in front as they head towards Castle Corner. On board with Lotto now as he has to defend his line from Maurice and try to catch the escorts ahead of him. Through Castle Corner and towards the Uncinis, the field stream. Jan Jacobs has managed to get ahead of Colin Keane. Behind them, Uli Sonne has just passed Willem Fonk. After starting at the back, Sonne will be powering his way through the field in his black BMW CSL. He sails past Colin Keane. The Alfa Romeo GT Junior of Jan Jacobs, no match for the BMW. Through Uncini 2, Sonne moves ahead. Onto the back straight now, and the Mercedes of Ian Morgan is brushed aside as Sonne powers past. Coming down the main straight, and the BMW moves alongside and past the escort of Brett Maurice. He also passes Daniel Lotto. The BMW really has such a power advantage. Quentin Willis is next in line to be dispatched as Uli Sonne continues his quest to get to the front. Ahead of the BMW, Dion van Vuren is challenging Gert Boertes for 4th place. Down the inside and Van Vuren takes the position. Great clean move there. Meredith Willis and his red escort is not far behind the pair, and he'll be keeping the pressure on Boertes. Into the boot they come, Boertes pushing hard. Sonne meanwhile has moved alongside Meredith Willis. Daniel Lotto and his Zach Speed escort has the inside line on Quentin Willis as they round the boot. Lotto edges slightly ahead. Towards Castle Corner, Willis has the inside line, but Lotto has enough of an advantage to hold the position. Jan Jacobs, carrying some speed down the inside, makes his move on the Mercedes of Ian Morgan and takes the position. Morgan hasn't given up, and he fights back through Uncini 2 and retakes the position. Willem Fonk trying to follow him through. Down the long back straight, the battle races. Ian Morgan and Willem Fonk leaving Jan Jacobs way behind. Perhaps some problems there for Jacobs. Through turn 9 and towards Gielskorp, Uli Sonne has moved up the field to challenge Martin Botha for 3rd place. Sonne takes the position and will now have the yellow escort of Werner Fonk in his sights as they head towards the final bend. Botha tries to fight back and has a look down the outside of the BMW, but isn't able to make it work. Down the back straight, and Uli Sonne has eventually caught up to Werner Fonk in the yellow escort, and he makes his move. The BMW CSL is now in 2nd place. Quentin Willis and Brett Maurice meanwhile are having a fantastic battle with the Midas liveried escort, currently leading the blue and white panel right escort. Onto the back straight they come, and Maurice makes his move and comes alongside Willis. Side by side they race down the straight, but Maurice tucks back in behind Willis as they approach turn 9. Willis managing to stay ahead for now. Jan Jacobs and his Alfa running alongside Hubi van Moltke in his Mercedes. The lighter Alfa managing to take the position as they go through Uncini 1, but he will have his work cut out for him, trying to keep the Mercedes behind him on the back straight where power is what counts. Van Moltke retakes the position. Quentin Willis has been defending hard, but eventually it looks like Brett Maurice has applied enough pressure and has found a way past. Willis won't let him run away with it though, and he keeps the pressure on as the pair race down to the boot. Maurice is still ahead, locking up slightly, and Willis will be watching for the slightest mistake. Peter Ross in his Alfa Romeo GTV is having a relatively quiet race. It looks like Paige Lindenberg has managed to get her fuel issue sorted as she moves ahead of Ross, who runs slightly wide. Gert Boertes and Meredith Willis are still pushing each other hard as they run into turn 3. Boertes is still ahead of Willis, but Willis is giving it his all as he looks for a way past the JC security machine. Running wide on the exit, you can see just how hard he is pushing. Daniel Lotto behind the pair, and their battle will be allowing him to make up some ground and get closer to them as they continue through the boot. Fantastic racing in the historic saloons, and these cars are really evenly matched, making for great entertainment. At the end of the back straight, Martin Botha has a look down the inside of Werner Vonk, going through the double right-hander. He manages to make it stick and moves into third place. Werner Vonk will no doubt be hanging on to Botha's bumper as the pair make their way through Gielskorp and towards the final bend. The yellow Escort just behind Botha, but Botha's having to work hard to keep him there. Daniel Lotter, meanwhile, has managed to catch up to Meredith Willis, and the pair are now running side by side through the double right-hander at the end of the back straight. There's nothing between the two as they run mirror to mirror through the series of right-handers. Botha's just ahead of them, and Lotter has edged ahead of Willis as they make their way to the final bend. Great racing, and these three are really having a fantastic duel. Daniel Lotter is pushing hard and is now looking for a way past Botha's. He's not close enough though, and Meredith Willis is right behind him, pushing hard, looking for a way past as well. Close, clean racing between these three throughout the race. Coming through Gielskorp and towards the final bend, and there's nothing in it. Each driver pushing as hard as they can. Willis even running slightly wide. Nose to tail, they make their way onto the main straight. Race leader Pieter Wahl comes up to lap Peter Ross as he powers his way towards the Uncinis. He's had a relatively quiet race out front. He's been able to keep the pace up and stay clear of Uli Sonne in his BMW CSL, who makes his way past Peter Ross as well. Coming up to the final corner, and Pierre de Waal will lead Uli Sonne onto the main straight and over the finish line. The red Alfa Romeo takes the checkered flag and victory in race 1. Gert Botha still leads this great three-way battle. He's ahead of Daniel Lotter and Meredith Willis. Neck and neck, Botha and Lotter race to the line. Botha's edging ahead of Lotter by just 0.2 of a second. Brett Maurice leads Quentin Willis over the line, just 0.4 of a second separating them. Further back, Paige Lindenberg is ahead of Hubi van Moltke as the pair race to the flag. Great racing throughout the field in the first race of the Marlboro Crane Hire Historic Saloons here at Pekisa. Pieter Waal taking victory, but Uli Sonne might have been able to catch him given another lap or two. He came home 1.3 seconds behind de Waal. Martin Botha taking third place in Class E honours, Daniel Lotter finishing in 7th place and winning Class F. Ian Morgan won Class G and Peter Ross Class H.
Well, what actually happened is I had a very good qualifying in the other car, but unfortunately the head gasket blew. So I decided to put in an entry with my second car and had to start at the back because I didn't take part in qualifying. During the race, it was quite busy initially. I'm very lucky that the car is very fast. So I was able to overtake people relatively easily initially until I got to the faster people at the front, and then the progress was slower. Missing the front spoiler is a bit of a problem because the car doesn't turn through the corners as easily. Otherwise, it would be much faster still.
Yes, well, I didn't have a good qualifying, and I took Brett Maurice on Class F on the first corner, and then Meredith's brother Quentin, I took him about a lap later, and then it was open for Meredith to be hauled. So, and I did that about halfway through the race. I managed to have a clean pass without any rubbing. So, yes, it was fun, and then Gert started holding us up.
Yeah, no, it was quite a move, I must say. It was well done. Yeah, the car was running okay in the beginning of the race. It kind of went off a little bit. It's broken an exhaust manifold, but it's fun racing with these guys. You can trust them. You absolutely go in the corner 100% committed, and you know that it's going to be all right. It's a fantastic race. Loved it.
Awesome race. Temperature very high. The temperature on all the cars was running high. I had a good start for a change. Usually I struggle with the start and then I chase the people. I saw the show on my rear view mirror. Good show. Meredith on me as usual all the time. And then I saw Daniel passing him. Yes, a very, very good race. Thanks, guys, for a clean, nice, good race.
Join us after the break for more great action from the Marlboro Crane Hire Historic Saloons.